If there was one thing that I could go back in time and tell myself, well, there would be multiple things, but one thing that I've been thinking about recently is when I first started going to the gym, I would always switch up my exercises so frequently. I would see on like TikTok or Instagram the new best, most science-based exercises, and I would switch my exercises every couple weeks. I think this is something that really held back my progress when I first started lifting, especially because when you're switching up your exercises every couple weeks, you're not giving yourself the chance to get strong at them. You're not giving yourself the chance to grow and adapt to those exercises. The worst thing is when you're switching up your exercises so often that you're not even giving yourself the chance to get strong at them. So what I would tell my younger self is pick a couple exercises that you actually enjoy doing, make sure that they're stable exercises, they're good exercises, and do those for weeks and weeks and weeks at a time. Get strong as fuck on those exercises and just keep doing them until eventually, you can't get stronger at them anymore. You need to switch. You might be stuck on the same weight and the same reps on an exercise for 2 or 3 weeks, and I think that's okay. There have been lots of times recently where, let's take my preacher curl for example. I've been doing a single arm preacher curl with a dumbbell, and I went up to 40s. I plateaued on 40s. I couldn't get more than 5 reps. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to go down on weight. I'm going to get 35s. I'm going to go a little bit more than what my rep range usually is. I'm going to do 35 and I'm going to get to 10. Once I get to 10, I'm going to switch back to 40s and I'm going to try to get to 8. And I did this for a couple weeks and it took me a long time. I was getting 35 for 6, 35 for 7. I eventually got 35 for 8. And then one session a couple weeks ago, I got 35 for 10. Once I got that, I went up to 40 and I got that for 7. And that was my next session. So just because I backed off a little bit and stayed consistent, even though there was a couple weeks at a time where I was having the same exact reps, the same exact weight, I didn't stop. I didn't pick a new exercise. I didn't give up. I kept going and I pushed myself, and I'm now able to get 40s for 7. And hopefully next week I might be able to get them for 8. Today I got them for 7 again, and this is the second week in a row, but that doesn't mean that I'm going to switch my exercise. I'm going to keep doing this exercise until I physically can't get any stronger on it with what I have. And, the jumps 5 pounds might be too much. But I'm not going to switch my exercise every couple weeks is my main point. And you shouldn't be either. Along with this video, a little bit of me yapping about consistency, I want to talk about being consistent with nutrition and sleep as well. It's really hard for some people to grasp the concept of being consistent with their sleep and being consistent with their nutrition, but it's because people don't really think about it very often. But let's start with nutrition. If you can keep similar meals every day, and especially like keeping similar times, you're going to help your digestive tract so much. If you're eating similar meals every day and you're eating them at similar times, your body knows what to expect. You're going to be digesting food at similar times. Your body's going to know, it's going to learn to what to expect, and it's going to be able to do that and get that through your system way better, way easier. Obviously, you should be eating healthy foods as well. That's going to help, eating your fiber, making sure that you're eating consistently the same foods, eating healthy food, making sure you get your protein, all that kind of stuff, vitamins. What was I going to talk about? Nutrition and sleep. For sleep, that is also a really important thing. A lot of people, they go to bed and wake up whenever they feel like they can get the sleep, whenever they can get the 8 hours. Most people don't even get 8 hours, or even close to 8 hours, which is not very good for you at all. But the more consistent you are with your sleep, the more you'll be able to set your circadian rhythm and be able to wake up feeling way better. You should try every night of the week to go to bed at the same time and wake up at the same time. I get that sometimes you're not able to do that, because for me, I'm not able to. I work. I have clinical shifts on Wednesday, Thursday night, and it switches from morning to night every week. So I can't always go to bed on the time that I like to, and I can't always wake up at the time I like to, because I would rather get 8 hours of sleep than have the same time, because that would, your sleep quality is probably better than waking up at the similar times, but it is really important, I think. So make sure that you're waking up and going to bed within 30 minutes of a set time that you always do. So let's say you're going to bed at 10 p.m. or something, you want to wake up at least 8 hours from then, and you want to do that consistently. So that's a little bit of my yapping done, and I wanted to do a little bit of posing, show you how to hit a classic Arnold 3/4 back pose. So I'll do that now. So the Arnold 3/4 back pose is kind of an awkward one to do, especially when you're first starting out. So I'm going to try my best to explain and go through the steps. So starting at the feet, we're going to make sure that our feet are about shoulder width apart, and you're going to bring the leg that you want, your dominant leg, is going to be brought back. So the one that's closest to the camera is going to be behind you, while your opposite leg is going to be in front. So we're going to have most of our weight on that opposite leg that's not closest to the camera, and we're just going to have our toes lightly touching the ground with a slight bend in our knees as well for the leg that's facing closest to the camera. Once we have that little bit of a bend in our knees, we're going to go up and we're going to just rotate at the hips. A common mistake that most people do is bending so far forward that they get off balance and it just makes the pose look wrong. So instead of bending forward, we're going to keep a straight spine and we're going to just rotate at the hips, and then we're going to bring our arms up and make sure that your arms, when they're up and peaked, you're going to be flexing your biceps, and you're going to be making sure that your arms are forming kind of like a straight arrow that's going from top to bottom. You don't want your arms to be down and by your side because that's going to make the pose look off. You want your arms to be creating like an arrow. So think of an arrow or a line going from your left elbow to your right elbow, or whichever side you're hitting the pose on, and making sure that it's going arrow down. Okay, so when we're hitting a Arnold Classic 3/4 back pose, we're going to be first of all starting with the side of our body facing the camera. So you can pick whichever side that you would prefer, whichever side you think you look better on, or whichever side you're dominant on. So I'm going to be having my right side facing the camera. So to start with this pose, it is a little bit of an awkward one. So we're going to get into a position where we have our left leg or leg that's opposite from the camera coming forward, and our right leg or the leg that's facing closest to the camera, we're going to have that come backwards. We're going to have it so that our knee is about in place with we're going to have it so that our right leg, the knee of our right leg, is in place with the back of your heel on your left leg. So that is how you gauge how far apart or how far back your right leg should be. And we're going to have a slight bend in our knees. And then what we're going to do, a lot of people make a mistake of leaning forward. But instead of leaning forward, we're going to keep a straight spine, and we're going to rotate with our hips away from the camera, and then or away from the stage or the judges. And then we're going to bring our arms up in an arrow, so it's going to be a straight line from your left arm, or the arm that's up, to your right arm, which is the arm that's down. And then we're just going to do a normal flex, and then you're going to crunch your back towards the camera, which makes your lats look bigger, and it's going to make you look bigger to the judges. So I'm going to demonstrate this here. Okay, so feet about shoulder width apart. You're going to have a little bit of bend in your knees. You're going to twist, rotate at the hips, bring your arms up, do your flex, and then point your back towards the camera or lean back towards the camera. And that's how you hit 3/4.